Hi, Barry Oglesby here from Kyuzo, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and Mixed Martial Arts. I'm here today to talk a little bit about our children's and teenagers programs. Hopefully this will be an informative video, but if you do have any other questions, please feel free to email us, use the contact details below, and we'll get in touch as soon as we can. Okay, so we have three age categories or three streams here at Kyuzo for children. We teach Brazilian Jiu Jitsu nursery class, which is 4, 5 and 6 year olds. We've got our kids class, which is 7, 8 and 9 year olds. And we've got our youth class, which is 10 plus year olds. So the 10 year olds go right up, or the youth class goes from 10 years of age right up to about 15 or 16, at which stage they start to transition into our juvenile program, which is on at the same time as our adults program. Okay, so what is the features of each program? Well, the 4, 5 and 6 year olds, the nursery class, what we do in that class is we try to develop not just Brazilian Jiu Jitsu skills, but we're also trying to develop gross motor skills and an athletic development at that stage. Now, why do we do that? Why do we focus on that as opposed to just teaching them some Jiu Jitsu techniques and sending them home? Well, one of our mottos here is that we replace the street. What we mean by that is previous generations, maybe your generation, maybe certainly my generation, would have been out on the street an awful lot, would have been walking on walls for balance, would have been climbing trees, would have been doing leapfrog with people, would have been playing football, hopscotch, all this kind of thing to develop these sort of gross motor skills that are vital for their child's development. Now, what do we mean by vital? So hopping on one foot, hopping on 2 feet together, being able to balance, being able to climb over things, all of these things lead to a great deal of physical confidence. Now, this kind of gross motor skill development, not to go too scientific on you, but it can lead to greater confidence, greater self-esteem, and greater social skills. Why is that? Because, well, if you have a child who goes into a physical play environment and they've never done this before, so for example, a playground, a creche, wherever it is, and if they can't climb the ladder that the other kids are climbing, well, obviously they feel a little bit left out, for one, and unable to socialize with the other kids, but also they compare themselves to those kids, and there's a self-esteem gap too. Now, this is kind of backed up by a great deal of social science and developmental science as well, which we've read through and we've got a good kind of grasp of. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to replace the street. We're trying to get this jumping, hopping, leapfrogging, crawling, all this kind of stuff. We're trying to get it back in here. We're trying to put it in this environment here. So if they don't get it on the street, because we don't have as many green areas as we used to do in housing estates, we've got a busier lifestyle as parents as well, which means we can't just get them out to the playground as often as we want to. It's kind of perceived as a more dangerous world where we can't just let our kids out and play anymore. And finally, the big issue is technology. Our kids spend so much time sitting down now as compared to previous generations. So they're either sitting watching TV, they're sitting in school, or they're sitting on the tablet, laptops, phones, whatever it is. So we need to get them up, we need to get them moving. And that's our goal with the 4, 5 and 6 year old class. That's our nursery class. Our kids class is 7, 8 and 9 year olds. We do all of what we spoke about before, except they're learning a little bit more jiu-jitsu now, they're learning more complex skills, and they're still doing that kind of gross motor development that we spoke about before. Finally, our youth class. Our youth class is for 10 to 14 year olds, and there's a lot of challenges in this class for us. The first thing is preteens and teens begin to drop out of sports and organized physical activities at a higher rate as they get older. Why? Well, all of the reasons above, right? Technology, peer pressure, all of these kind of things play a part. If you're doing a sport and your friends don't also do that sport, well, you want to do what they're doing, and you want to go out with them, and you want to hang out on the street with them maybe. You want to play Xbox more often because that's what you really enjoy. You've got a phone now, you're in secondary school and it's not cool anymore. All of these things play a part. But for us, the biggest thing that plays a part here is a lot of sports tend towards competitiveness at this age group. That means that in team sports, kids don't get to play as often. So what's that mean? When they get to 12, 13 years of age, coaches begin to pick winning teams as opposed to teams that are, they're just to encourage play, right, and to encourage development. And if that happens, what happens? The worst players always get left on the bench and the best players go on to play all the time. It certainly happened to me, and it happened to a lot of kids around my age, my vintage, I suppose you'd say as well. That means kids get discouraged. They get discouraged very easily, but with martial arts, it's an individual sport. Kids get to develop at their own pace. There's no team effort, which means that, well, there's a great sort of team environment here. There's a great bunch of kids. There's no team effort, which means that, if you're the worst player on the team, nobody's looking down on you. So if you're the kid in here who's the least experienced and the worst, we never use that term, but that's to kind of simplify it for you. Nobody's really looking at you and saying, oh, well, he's going to slow us down. So martial arts is a great individual sport for kids like that. And it's also a great sport for kids around this age group, from pre-teen to teenager, to start and to begin. In fact, something that we notice, and this is more anecdotal than absolutely hard scientific fact, is that and I'm going to use air quotes again, you'll forgive me, the geekier kids tend to get on better. And why is that? This is not just a physical sport. This is also a mental sport. It's very technical. It requires a lot of moves, a little bit like human chess, some people call it. And that means that kids who have maybe not developed physically as well as they might have in previous years, maybe there's other kids who enjoy PE, enjoy sport more than they do. When they get to this sport, and when they get to train jiu-jitsu, their technical advantages start to play a huge role. And what does that mean? That means sometimes smarter kids get a little bit better at it. So it's a great kind of leveler in that regard as well. So what's our central philosophy? So for all of the kids classes that we do from 5 years or 4 years of age right through to 15, fun. We make them really enjoyable. We want them to come here. We want this to be their third place. So they've got 2 places already. They've got home, at home with you. They've got school, and we want this to be the other place that they really want to come. So we want them to come up here. We want them to have a good time all of the time. We want them to go home tired and ready to come back for the next session. And if we don't do that, then we feel that we failed. So what does that mean? That means we don't always push them to learn everything immediately. We've got a massive amount of time with them, hopefully, if we keep them here. So we can pick away at them slowly. We can add little bits of technique every week. We can just develop them really, really slowly over a short period of time. If they don't do too well this month, that's no problem. We'll give them something that they can do well the next month and the next month after that. And hopefully, if we have them from a young age, we'll have them 10 years here before they're an adult. And when they get to be an adult, they'll have 10 years of great training, a love of sport, a love of exercise, a feeling that when you come to train somewhere, you're not coming for a hard time or, to get no pain, no gain, etc., all that kind of stuff. You're coming to enjoy it, to get stuck in, and to have a smile on your face after you've sweated afterwards. And that's really what we hope to do here. That's really our goal. So look, we hope to see a lot of you in January in 2019. We're enrolling in all of the classes. I would just say that our nursery and our kids class are really, really very close to capacity. So if you have a child between the ages of 4 and 9, get on to us now, fill out the form below, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. We're quite close to capacity with those. Our youth class has more spaces, again quite full, but quite a few more spaces. And we're looking to try and break that into 2 age categories later in the year. So where we'll have the younger teens and pre-teens and the older teens in 2 categories later in the year. So we will have more space there. So if you have a child or a teenager who you're looking to get out from under your feet in 2019, do fill out the form below. Someone will get back onto you straight away and we'll be able to have a chat about how we can help you out. Okay, listen, thanks very much for watching and we hope to see you in the new year.